Easter is just around the corner, and for many people around the world, Easter means chocolate. Here in France, chocolate shops are filled with eggs, rabbits, hens, bells, even somewhat strangely, little shellfish. We're going to talk about the tradition of Easter chocolates now with one of France's greatest chefs of all things sweet, Pierre Hermé. Pierre, welcome to Entre Nous and France 24.
Yes, thank you for inviting me.
Let's just start with chocolate in general. Why has chocolate become such a staple of Easter baskets around the world?
Because the tradition, German tradition, is more about bunnies and because the tradition is coming from Christian tradition. Because from the first day to the Saturday, the clocks are not ringing, and so sometimes also you have some chocolate clocks. So I decided to work on the eggs. And to make some chocolate eggs in different shape.
Exactly. Yeah, so just you're talking about the bells. Here in France, it's not the Easter bunny that brings chocolate. It's the chocolate bells because in Rome, the clocks stop for 3 days. They stop ringing. So it's bells that actually bring the chocolate. And just before we get into more specifically your chocolates, one thing that I find very interesting here in France is that oftentimes chocolate eggs are filled with what we call friture. These are like these little tiny bits of chocolate, which are often seashells. Why is that? Pourquoi les coquillages?
It's also a representation of the filling, but I decided also to work on a different shape related to the game. But also you can also find some small eggs filled with praline, with ganache, with caramel. And sometimes the eggs are wrapped, sometimes not, and it's a tradition.
So what's the process like of creating a new chocolate collection like you do every year? How do you go about it? When do you start?
Start one year before, and working on ideas, team. And also I can work on the shape. And after I gave this to a mold designer, we do the mold and we make the first trials. And now we have the shape. We have to choose the chocolate. We use milk chocolate, 45% of cocoa contain, because it's a very strong cocoa taste. And the dark one is pure origin Belize. And it's 64% of cocoa. And you have also the blonde chocolate that's a little bit caramelized taste, and it's a little bit balanced with fleur de sel.
I love that, with a little bit of salt on the chocolate. So we can see from all of the different eggs you've brought, the theme this year is ludique. In English, that means playful. A lot of games, puzzles. Why did you want to go with this theme of playful?
It's always interesting to work on a team like the game, because I worked last year on the game, and the world of game is very large. And it's possible to make a lot of interpretation. Here is the play, the solitaire, and here is the
like
fléchette.
Darts.
Darts.
There's no chocolate dart. Is there a chocolate dart in there inside?
Yes, the chocolate dart is here, but in the same color. And because it should be all in the egg shape.
And tell us about this one that's like a puzzle.
Yes, this one is it's inspired by a sculpture of American sculptor called Christopher Curtis, and I asked him the permission to transform his art piece in an egg, and he was very interested, and we exchanged about this, and I brought in one egg to New York because he wanted to see the real eggs. So, and in this you have also some surprise with the small chocolate piece, with the domino with different tastes of chocolate, and here you have the chocolate tablet, which filled with praline, almond praline, and the base here is also filled with hazelnut praline.
Oh my goodness, that is a
Yes.
very fancy chocolate. I think you have to be a millionaire to buy that
It's-
chocolate
it's-
egg, Pierre.
It's more than 4 kilo of chocolate, so you can share with the family.
That's a good one to share with family and friends. Which one of all the new creations is your favorite?
I like this one because it's something different, but I like very much the colombe.
Okay, tell us about that one.
Colombe is inspired by the Italian tradition of Easter. It's the same dough and the panettone. It's a natural sourdough, and like a brioche, and it's infinitely chocolate. And we make another one with ispahan, rose, lychee, and raspberry. That's I like very much. I tasted this morning. It's so good, and it's also something to share for Easter.
So, Pierre, of course, you're famous for your chocolates, but perhaps most famous for your pastries. You're known as the pastry Picasso around the world. How different is it working with chocolate as opposed to working with pastry or macaroons that you're famous for?
When we work on Easter and chocolate, it's mostly of the shape and choosing one chocolate. When we work on creating macaron, it's creating different flavor combination, or one flavor, infinitely vanilla or infinitely hazelnut, to bring the flavor to its best. So when it's Easter, it's more choosing the good chocolate and a nice shape. It's mostly the shape which is important, because when you see the Easter egg, you choose the shape.
The way it looks like, exactly. It's all about how it looks as well as how it tastes, and I'm sure it's delicious.
Sorry for my bad French accent.
No, it's very charming, Pierre. Thank you so much. Now, in an earlier Entre Nous, my colleague Delano de Souza spoke to a pastry chef who comes from India, who's a huge fan of your work. Her name is Pooja Dhingra, and she found a way that blends French craft with Indian flavors. Let's listen to what she had to say about you.
I think the biggest challenge was to try to adapt and make French pastry, without eggs. I think that was my biggest challenge. But I'm happy to say that it took me a couple of years. But we do make macarons without eggs now. In fact, when I was in Paris a couple of years ago, Chef Pierre Hermé actually asked me for my recipe, and I think that for me was a big moment as being a fan of his work. So we do make them eggless, and we've kind of adapted to the market basis what people can and cannot eat.
So did you share your recipe with Pierre Hermé?
A little bit, yeah, of course. I told him what I did, and he said he was working on vegan macarons. I think they've launched their own version of vegan macarons in Paris as well.
Pierre Hermé, what do you think about vegan macaroons? Do you adapt what you do to the changing dietary trends?
We are close to be ready to launch the vegan macaron, because it's something that I work since several years. And I remember I went to her shop in India, and we met together, and also she came to Paris to meet me, yes.
And did she give you her recipe for
I
vegan
can't remember now. I don't think so, but it was interesting. She is very famous in India. She has more than 6.5 million of followers, and she's very famous.
We have a huge France 24 following in India. Do you have Pierre Hermé boutiques in India?
Not yet, but we work on a project.
Okay, well, tell us a bit more about your other shops all over the world, and if we can find your chocolate egg collection there.
Yes, the tradition of the eggs is very French, but we make also some eggs in Japan. We make also some eggs at La Mamounia in Marrakech. We make also some eggs in other countries, in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, in Doha, but or in Taiwan. But it's so little because it's not the tradition. It's so French.
Speaking of things that are so French, is French chocolate very different from other well-known chocolates, say Belgian chocolate or Swiss chocolate?
French chocolate for me it's more interesting because it's more concentrated on the origin of the beans and the quality of the beans, and I developed some very specific chocolate for us with some specific origin from this plantation, from this region. So I know the grower of our beans.
Pierre Hermé, thank you so much for coming in. We're almost out of time. What are you going to be eating on Easter morning? Which chocolate egg are you going to be opening?
I will eat the colomba.
The cake. All right.
I love the colomba.
It sounds delicious. I know you told me before you're a gourmand, as we say. You do enjoy eating sweet things, as I'm sure many of our viewers do as well. Pierre Hermé, thank you so much
Thank you.
for coming in and telling us about your chocolate collection for Easter, ludique or playful. Thanks so much to you for watching. Don't forget, you can always check out any of our Entre News again on the website. That address is france24.com.